The older I get, the less I like having guests over. First, that may sound unusual, even unkind. After all, aren't we supposed to welcome others? To keep our doors open? To always be ready with a smile, a chair, a warm meal? But the truth is far gentler than it appears. It's not that I've grown cold. It's not that I've lost my kindness. If anything, I think I've grown softer, more aware, more protective of the things that truly matter. Because as the years pass, I've started caring more about my health, my peace, my inner world. And when you care about those things, you begin to see life differently. Slow pan across empty chairs, a tidy table set for no one, a window with sunlight streaming in. Voiceover. Once upon a time, my home was always ready for company. The kettle was set to boil. The table always had room for one more plate. The couch welcomed as many as could fit. And I loved it. Truly I did. The bustle, the laughter, the endless conversations, they filled the house with warmth. I had energy to spare. I could cook 3 dishes at once, clean the house from top to bottom, and still find the strength to sit up until midnight sharing stories. The door always opened wide, without hesitation, without a second thought. There was a joy in it, in serving, in giving, in being part of the noise and the motion of many lives woven together. I remember those days fondly, and I hold no regret. But things changed. Somewhere along the way, the noise that once energized me began to tire me. The mess that once felt joyful began to weigh on me. The long nights that once left me glowing now leave me drained. Quiet became important. Rest became sacred. And the act of hosting, once so simple, so effortless, now feels heavy. It is not because I love people any less. It is not because I don't enjoy companionship. It is because I've learned to listen to my body and to my soul. I've learned that while visitors bring joy, they also bring disruption. While they bring laughter, they also bring exhaustion. And what I need most in this season of life is not more noise, but more peace. My home now is no longer a stage for endless gatherings. It is my sanctuary. It is where I go to heal, to recharge, to protect what little strength each day gives me. Visitors, even the kindest ones, can sometimes disturb that sense of safety. And so the older I get, the less I crave those gatherings. The less I want the door to swing open without warning. The more I long for stillness, familiarity, and the comfort of my own company. This isn't selfishness. It's survival. It's wisdom. And so, if you ask me why I don't host as much as I once did, if you wonder why I seem reluctant, why I pause before saying yes, the answer is simple. Life has changed. And with it, so have I. As time moves on, our bodies change. The strength that once seemed endless now whispers its limits. The back stiffens, the knees ache. The energy that once fueled entire nights of work or celebration begins to flicker like a candle nearing its end. Tasks that were once effortless, preparing a meal, walking back and forth across the house, standing at the stove for long hours, now carry a cost. Even the simple act of setting the table can feel like climbing a hill. And the conversations, oh, the conversations. They once stretched joyfully into midnight, full of stories and laughter. But now those same hours stretch the body thin. The voice tires, the mind dulls, and the body quietly pleads for rest. The clinking of plates, the bending to pick up a dropped spoon, the sweeping of crumbs after guests leave. These small, ordinary motions are no longer small. They take their toll. For those of us living with aching joints, fragile backs, lingering fatigue, or the quiet, invisible burden of chronic conditions, the effort of hosting transforms. It is no longer a simple act of love. It becomes a weight carried with every step, a reminder that the body no longer bends to our will the way it once did. And recovery, where once we bounced back after a long evening, now it takes hours, sometimes days, to feel whole again. The body does not forgive fatigue as quickly as it used to. It demands payment for every ounce of overexertion. So when people ask, "Why don't you host more often?" they do not see the hidden cost. The preparation, the serving, the cleanup, the conversations that run long into the evening. Each of these is energy spent that cannot be easily replaced. What was once joy has quietly become strain. And strain is a price I can no longer pay as freely as I once did. But it isn't only the body. It is the mind too that grows weary. There is a hidden weight in hosting that few people notice, the constant mental load. It begins long before the first knock on the door. The planning, the preparing, the making sure everything is presentable. The quiet panic at an unvacuumed floor. A stack of unopened mail on the counter. A dish left soaking in the sink. What once felt like simple tidying can now feel like a mountain. Then comes the endless questions circling in the mind. What will I serve? Will they like it? Should I cook something different? What if I run out? What if it isn't enough? Even if guests say, "Don't go to any trouble," the heart of a host rarely listens. We want things to be good, to be right, to be comfortable for others. And that means worry. And the schedule, oh, how fragile it becomes with age. A younger life could bend and stretch, rearrange itself to make space. But now routines are sacred. The timing of meals, the rhythm of medications, the hour of sleep. These are no longer flexible luxuries but lifelines. And when a visit runs long or a guest arrives late, or the house grows noisy past bedtime, it throws everything off balance. Even small disturbances ripple outward. The cup of coffee served later than usual may leave me restless at night. The dinner pushed back by an hour may unsettle digestion. The missed pill, forgotten in the rush of entertaining, may echo in discomfort the next day. And then there is the unpredictability. Who will come? When will they leave? Will they stay a little while? Or the whole evening? What if they drop by unannounced when I am unprepared, when my body is tired, when the house is not ready? To the young, these are small things, barely inconveniences. But in this stage of life, they weigh heavily. Each surprise visit, each extended conversation, each unexpected need shakes the delicate balance of a day carefully built around health, rest, and peace. And so, the older I get, the less I crave that unpredictability. Because what younger hearts call spontaneity, older hearts often feel as disruption. And when your health and energy are fragile, disruption is more than uncomfortable. It is costly. Over time, solitude stops being lonely. It becomes something precious. When I was younger, silence felt heavy. I filled it with voices, music, chatter, movement. Loneliness haunted empty rooms, and company felt like the cure. But with age comes a different wisdom. I've learned that solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness aches. It cries out for someone to arrive. But solitude soothes. It whispers, "You are enough. You are safe here. You belong to yourself." And so I've grown to love it. The quiet of my home is no longer emptiness. It is fullness. Not always silence, but tranquility. The small things become holy. The rustle of a page as I read. The gentle notes of a song drifting through the room. The sound of rain against the window, or the slow drift of clouds across the sky. Even watering plants or folding laundry becomes peaceful when it happens in solitude. In these quiet moments, life feels richer than any crowded room. There is no need to perform. No need to entertain. No need to be on. But when guests come, even the dearest, even the kindest, their presence interrupts that rhythm. Their voices, their movements, their needs, all of it shifts the atmosphere. The silence is broken, the flow disrupted, the sanctuary disturbed. It is not that I don't love them. It is not that I don't appreciate them. It is simply that my heart has found a new home in stillness. And once you've tasted that deep peace, noise, even joyful noise, feels different. It feels like being pulled away from a place you'd rather remain. That is why with time fewer guests feel less like a loss and more like a blessing. Not because I have withdrawn, but because I have drawn closer, closer to peace, closer to myself, closer to God. When we are young, energy feels infinite. We spend it recklessly, as if the well will never run dry. We stay up late, rush through our days, host without hesitation, and still wake up ready to do it all again. But the older I get, the more I see. Energy is not endless. It is not infinite. It is a currency, one that must be spent wisely. Every choice takes from it. Every activity, every conversation, every responsibility, they all withdraw from the same account. And unlike in youth, there are no easy deposits. Rest does not replenish as quickly. Sleep does not always restore. The well does not fill as fast as it once did. So I've learned to guard it, to measure it, to treasure it, because energy now is as valuable as gold, as precious as water in a dry land. And hosting draws from every part of that reserve. It is not just arranging meals and cleaning dishes. It is not only sweeping floors or setting the table. It is emotional labor, the effort of being warm, attentive, available. It is mental presence, keeping conversations alive, remembering stories, listening deeply even when the mind is tired. It is constant attention to the comfort of others, making sure they are well fed, well seated, cared for. Every smile costs something. Every gesture costs something. Every moment of pouring myself out for guests is a moment that drains from the same reservoir. I need to keep myself steady, healthy, whole. And here is the truth. If I give too much away, I am left depleted. Not just tired for a night, but weakened for days. The body aches longer, the mind feels heavier, the spirit grows quieter. It takes more and more to recover from what once took so little. So when I say I don't host as often, it is not a rejection. It is conservation. It is wisdom. It is survival. I must choose carefully where my energy flows, because now every drop matters. And so I reserve more of it for the things that sustain me, for healing, for rest, for quiet joys, for the rhythms that give me strength, not strip it away. I spend energy as if it is precious because it is. And that means fewer gatherings, fewer visitors, fewer long nights at the table. Not because I love less, but because I finally understand the worth of what little I have. Saying I don't want frequent visitors isn't a rejection of people. It isn't shutting the door on love or withdrawing into bitterness. It's something gentler, something wiser. It's learning to protect the fragile balance that keeps us well. It's preserving the body that now asks for more rest. It's sheltering the mind that values calm over constant noise. It's choosing to create a safe little world, a haven where we can breathe, heal, and simply exist without demands. When we were young, we believed that love meant always being available. That kindness meant always opening the door. That generosity meant pouring until the cup was empty. But age teaches a different truth. You can love people deeply and still choose distance. You can care for others and still say not today. You can value connection without sacrificing your health and peace. This is not coldness. This is not selfishness. This is wisdom. Wisdom that comes only from living long enough to know you cannot pour from an empty cup. Still, connection matters. Human beings are not made for isolation, but neither are we meant for constant demand. The secret as we grow older is balance. We learn that love does not always look like crowded tables or endless chatter. Sometimes love is a quiet walk with a friend. Sometimes it is a 10-minute call instead of a 5-hour visit. Sometimes it is choosing depth over frequency, a few meaningful moments instead of constant intrusion. We discover that boundaries are not walls. They are doors with keys. Keys we hand out thoughtfully, carefully. Not everyone has access to our sacred space. Not everyone can step into our world on a whim. And that is not cruelty, it is care. Care for ourselves and care for the few we welcome. So perhaps the gatherings are smaller now. Perhaps the visits are shorter, with time for rest between. Perhaps we say yes only when our body, our mind, and our spirit are ready. This is not a loss, it's a gain. Because when we do open our doors, it is with joy, not exhaustion. It is with readiness, not resentment. It is with energy to give, rather than fragments of what's left. Boundaries are not barriers to love. They are bridges that ensure love flows in both directions, without draining one side. They allow us to remain kind, without becoming depleted. They help us invite others in without losing ourselves in the process. And this is the gift of age. To finally understand that peace is not negotiable, that our presence is a treasure, and that those who truly love us will not demand constant access. They will respect the rhythm of our hearts and meet us where balance is found. The older I get, the less I like having guests over. Not because I've grown unkind, not because I've stopped loving people, but because I have learned that what I'm guarding is deeper than the door. I'm guarding my peace. I'm guarding the fragile rhythms that keep me whole. I'm guarding my body, which now asks for gentler care. I'm guarding my strength, which must be spent with wisdom. And most of all, I'm guarding my soul, the one space in this life where I can truly rest, without performance, without pretense, without the noise of the world pressing in. Once I thought hospitality meant always saying yes, always opening the door no matter how I felt, always giving more even when I was already tired. But age has taught me that true hospitality must begin within. If I cannot welcome myself into rest, I cannot welcome others with joy. If I do not honor my own limits, I cannot offer love that is genuine. So now I choose differently. I choose smaller gatherings, shorter visits, more meaningful moments, less constant company. I choose solitude as a friend, not a punishment. I choose peace as the foundation of every connection. And when I do open my door, when I do say yes, it is no longer from guilt or obligation. It is from fullness, from readiness, from a place where my heart is not weary but open. That, I have discovered, is the truest kind of welcome. Perhaps you feel this too. Perhaps you too have realized that the endless bustle of life does not equal happiness. That constant presence does not always equal love. That silence, rest, and stillness are not signs of loneliness, but of a soul returning home to itself. If this resonates with you, perhaps it is time to reimagine hospitality, not as a performance but as a gentle offering. An offering that flows from rest, not exhaustion, from peace, not pressure, from choice, not compulsion. And so, as I sit here in my quiet room, the world outside continuing on, I whisper this truth to myself. I am not less loving because I choose quiet. I am not less kind because I need space. I am not less human because I seek solitude. I am, in fact, more whole because I have learned that rest is not the absence of love. It is the presence of self. Rest is not absence of love. It is presence of self.